Well, it seems strange to say when you're on a 10-game winning streak, but it feels good to have some time off, have 10 days off. We have some stuff we have to work on, obviously. Not wholesale changes, but we have to work on some timing things. Our offense, we're not running at pace to my liking. Over the last 2 days, I've watched all our offensive possessions, and I think there's some things we can clean up without drastically changing what we're doing. You know, I want a few more things that get the ball inside to Yanni and Nate. I think that slows the game down. I think they've proven effective when we do throw it in there, and their willingness to throw it out can create a more dangerous offensive opportunity for us. Defensively, we pressed all game against San Jose and only, I think, created one turnover, a 10-second call. So I thought we did a pretty good job, but we have to continue to work on our full court pickup for games when we're going to need it and try to force a few more turnovers where we can get some easy baskets. And easy baskets aren't easy. We want to try to create turnovers so we can get some fast break opportunities. You know, obviously we want to hit the offensive glass. That was a huge piece to our win. Nathan's ability to follow shots in. The bad news is we were missing layups. The good news is Nathan was right where he was supposed to be to clean them up and get putbacks. So some of the missed layups against San Jose turned into almost assists. You know, get it up on the rim, draw the second post defender, and if it doesn't go in, miss it soft enough where Nathan can come and clean it up. And that happened. So even when there's bad, there's good. And we have 10 days to try to clean some things up so that when we finish the back half of the non-conference schedule, leading the conference, we're playing at a more efficient level.
Coach, when you go back and look at Malachi's final shot, and now it's been a few days and you've seen it, just how great was that because of how instinctual it was? The fact that that wasn't a play designed for him, and he's coming over and taking that shot with two guys in his face.
Yeah, I think it was great that his roommate gave it to him. And there's always something about chemistry. I mean, the fact that they live together, shoot together, you know, as much as I practice, that's something I'm sure they do in the gym together. And they seem to find each other, you know, not just at the last play of the game, but during the game. They have a good feel for where each other are and play well together. And, I mean, that's the key to basketball, if your team plays well together. And so I thought as much as Malachi showed an ability to come get the ball, Jordan did a good job flipping it back to him right on time to get him that shot. So that's a play they made for us to provide us a game-winning shot, which, you know, we're talking about the last one that happens maybe 5-6 years ago. So they don't happen that often. As much as you think they do, most games don't go down to the last shot. And this was one we'll remember, obviously, because it went in.
What was your thought process during that when you saw the play developing and then shot going up?
It was, like I said in the press conference, it was slow motion. I mean, you saw him coming around, you saw the shot lift up, and it's just that moment that's frozen in time as the ball's in the air. You're thinking it has a chance to go in. You got the guy that's probably going to have the highest percentage of anybody on your team to take it that's going to make it. And so it ended up in the right hands, and he did what Malachi does. He makes hard shots. You know, he's not always on balance. Sometimes he takes them during the game, and, you know, the fans might be frustrated. What is that shot? You know, he's kicking his legs. He's off balance, but he makes shots like that. And so he made one to help us win a game, which was great from a coach's standpoint.
When it was on the bench and you were losing and struggling and scuffling, and that's San Jose State, who's really been a bottom rung team for a long time. You say, how could this be happening to us?
I watched their two games before the conference started, and they played UCLA and Oregon State, and they couldn't have looked worse. I would have watched those games and say we're gonna roll over them, but then I watched Utah State, and Coach Prelude does a good job. I told our kids even before I watched the tape that no matter what their season is like, they have an ability to play hard. Where most teams, when they lose, they give in eventually, and then they just kind of surrender to you. I told them before I even watched tape that that's not their history at San Jose State. They always play hard. They stay true to who they are. And so after watching UCLA, Oregon State, I thought, well, we should have a pretty easy time of it. Then I watched Utah State, and it was a three-point game at halftime. They had gotten away from their matchup zone, which they were playing all the time, and played straight man in that game, and then mixed in some matchup. So I think man-to-man, he found served them better. They were better defensively. They could use their athleticism to keep a body in front of a body, and they played really well against us. And I told the teams you're supposed to beat, usually you get beat because you give them fast break baskets or you give them three-point shots. Because deep down, I just feel like we're good enough. If they have to make a lot of twos, they're not going to beat us. And in the stretch, they hit 3 threes in a row to take the lead. Some of them contested, but to their credit, they made them. I think they went 6 threes in the second half. So it was almost like I was a prophet in that regards. If they make threes, it's going to be a game. And they made 6 of them with the game on the line, and that's why the game ended up the way it was.
How do you sort of balance the two sides of it that, wow, we almost lost to a team that's statistically one of the worst in Division I versus even, I wrote about today, the 34-3 team almost lost to Cal Poly here and scored 51 points. Do these things just kind of happen and you just forget about it and move on, or do you take the scare and say, well, we maybe have some issues that we need to sort out?
I mean, the kids after the game were like, we can't let that happen again. And they were like, feeling it was like we have to perform better, which we do. But, I'm not one to put it all on us. They played really well. I think anybody who was at the game say, wow, they played good. They made some hard plays. They were organized. They didn't just force us into a horrible performance. I mean, they played well, and we got to the rim a lot, but we've not been able to finish a lot at the rim. We're missing a lot of layups. We got, I think it was something like 16 attempts at the rim we didn't get in. And so the thing is, you start pressing your game. You can get to the rim, but we didn't make enough. We tipped a few in order to stay in the game, but they played well. We have to play better, and that's what happens when you run into a game like that. That's college basketball. Happens every night somewhere.
You get any sense being 10-0 and ranked? Maybe the kids are feeling a little bit of pressure?
I don't think so. I think they like it. I mean, like I said, it's a mature group, and I think pressure is coming from behind in 3 games to get victories. That's pressure, and we responded to pressure. Coming from 16 down, 9 down, and in this game, 3 down with under a minute to play, we responded, and that's the kind of pressure I want them to respond, not where they're thinking they're supposed to be, how they perform under pressure on the floor, and that's what they've proven to be able to do.
What kind of impact has Yanni had this season?
Yanni's been a real presence in the post, and he scores in there, but he had a game again like he had earlier where he's right at the rim and they're not going in. They're dancing on the rim, they're ringing out, and so it was a perfect storm where the guards were missing a lot of shots. Malachi and KJ couldn't get a shot to go in, and then Yanni was getting post touches inside. They were rolling off the rim. So when you look at the tape, you think, did our offense produce a lot of the shots we wanted? Absolutely. But at some level, you have to make those shots. And we didn't make enough to create separation. I think it was a 9-point game with 5 minutes to go, and we just couldn't get the ball to go in. And I talked in the press conference after the game, there was one sequence where Yanni went baseline and missed a reverse layup, and Nathan tried to tip it, and he probably could have grabbed it and dunked it, and he was so open. And he missed the tip in, and you're like, wow, this is not our night offensively. We're missing all sorts of really good opportunities. And then to San Jose's credit, they took advantage of it. They hit some hard shots and put themselves in a position to win.
Has Nathan's game taken a step up? Does he feel more confident offensive end of the ball?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, Nathan's got to just continue to maintain a high level of concentration. Because when he concentrates, he puts himself in the right position. If he loses concentration, all of a sudden it'll happen what happened this game. He got pushed in the back on a rebound where he got a foul. He got another early foul on a post touch where he pushed a guy. And that's just concentration. He knows better than that. He's been taught better than that. But he ends up with 2 fouls early. But to his credit, he played through it, and it was really important as the game went on. I think Nathan would like some more touches, but I'm going to Yanni more than Nathan right now because I just feel like Yanni's been more effective in the low post. It doesn't mean Nathan's not. So he gets his touches, but I think if I call a play, I'm more or less calling it to get Yanni a post touch instead of Nathan, just relying on his experience more.
You talked a lot about getting KJ going and in reviewing all your offensive touches this season so far. What have you seen any? Is there anything you can pinpoint that you need to do to kind of get him on track?
I don't know, Mark. Is it easy as seeing the ball go in? He's getting good looks. I mean, he had a couple little floaters in there, point-blank floaters. I think he's adjusting his layup too much. You know, he's trying to go up and under the post players instead of maybe just going through contact, extending. So we'll work on that. And the dangerous thing about working on finishing, working all our guards on finishing, is every time they drive in there, they're thinking they're supposed to finish now. What I want them to do is drive in there and pass the ball out and get us an open three. So I walk the line of saying we're going to work on finishing, and then they get in a game and they try to finish everything. That's not the purpose. I want them to finish the easy ones, and if they're hard, I don't want hard finishes. I want them to drive in and throw the ball out to Jordan and Matt and Malachi and even himself. If he's out there, I want to kick it out and get open threes. So I'm walking the line about working too much on finishing.
In terms of the rest of his game, you know, I think some people are fans who are looking at his stats offensively and saying, oh man, he's struggling. But defensively and in terms of leadership, being a blue guy, it seems like he's really excelling in that.
No, his defense is great. He's picking up 94 feet. And the thing with KJ is, when I watch tape, I'll get done with a game and not think he played particularly well, like most fans, because the ball didn't go in. And then I'll go back and watch the tape and say, wow, what a great play defensively. Wow, what a great drive and kick. You know, so we all have to be careful, including coaches, measuring a player's success based on the ball going in. He definitely has an impact on the game, and that will grow if he can make a shot or two. Then it'll be really obvious to everybody. But there are things on the floor that don't involve the ball going in that he's proved very valuable.
In terms of his leadership, is that pretty evident?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, he's a good vocal leader. All our seniors are good vocal leaders. Yanni's been a good vocal leader. Nolan, even though he's not playing, is insightful with what he says to the team, having been in the program. So we have great veteran leadership, and that allows us to continue to get better.
One follow-up on Yanni. He seems so fun-loving and carefree. How does that demeanor affect his play and play of the team?
I mean, I like guys that the pressure doesn't get to him. I don't want him out there, you know, where I feel like he's under so much pressure to perform that he doesn't perform well. So I want him confident. I want him having fun out there. You know, as much as we work and drive them to be great, when they go on the floor, it's inevitable that a coach will eventually say, hey, have fun, after we beat them to death trying to get them to play well. So at some level, we have to realize it's a game, and we have to say, go have fun. Enjoy the process. Enjoy being out there. Don't let the pressure, don't let us harping on you on execution to take the enjoyment away from the game. And so I like the fact that he's out there having a good time on the floor.
Dutch, with so many new components to the thing, is it a challenge to teach so many new kids to play Aztec defense? Because that's been your calling card for 2 decades.
Yeah, I think they realize, Lee, that if they don't guard, they're not going to get on the floor. And they all want to get on the floor. And that's Keyshawn's biggest thing as a young guy. He's just not ready defensively yet. He's thinking a lot, which I want him doing, but now he's got to go beyond thinking just to instinctually play. And so he's making that next step. And hopefully, as we get into the conference season, he'll be a lot more competent to make that step and just be able to play without overthinking everything. But defense is how you get on the floor here.